This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, guys, let's continue. No, others might come and join. It's not a problem. If not, they miss again. They can go to the video and they have a backup. Don't have a problem there. Okay. Shall we continue? Now we are talking about applications of companion object. The last session we have discussed about couple of applications about companion objects. Do you know what are those applications, sir? Could you anybody tell me what are those applications of companion object? See, if you answer, it gives more energy to me. Otherwise, what happens? Your answers are useful to improve my energy. Okay. So please, no, try to give answers so that I also feel little energetic. I don't feel bad, energetic. So we have discussed about couple of things. Okay. So what are those points to remember here today about companion objects? One thing, definition wise, there is nothing really challenging here. What is it? Your class name and that singleton object name both are same. It is a companion object. That is one thing. The advantages of companion objects, and we are trying to understand it from the official doc. We came to know in the last session. If a class is companion to an object, or if an object is companion object to a class, the advantage is they can mutually share these private properties. You got it right? They can have access to private properties of each other. That is one thing. Also, after that, we have a very good discussion about applying this thing, and we learned something there. But the second thing we have discussed about companion objects. Anybody tell me? One is having access to the private properties, and second one applying that abstraction concept. What is that? So, do you remember, right? Abstraction. So you can directly create object without using, or we can instantiate object without using new operator. Correct, right? Points. Definition wise, class name and object name are same. That is one thing. Second thing, both this companion class and companion object. Anyhow, we have a detailed discussion in the last session. Okay. That factory method concept we have discussed in the last class. So what is that? Both if it is companion, so what is that? Both companions can have access to each other. That is one thing. Both companions can have access to each other. That is one more thing. Each other private members. Maybe this should be very clear. Companions in sense, a companion class and a companion object. I'm just concluding here because we have a detailed discussion in the last class. Again, if I try to teach that, it is a boring thing for you. Okay. Third thing, we can instantiate class with the help of companion concept. We can instantiate a class without a new operator. So in this case, there is some factory method, and then we do the instantiation in that factory method, which is we call it as apply. One of the most used method throughout the Scala language. Apply and apply. This happens to be background method for in many scenarios in Scala. Remember, if you want, you can go and check the documentation. You can find it in number of cases, not just one case, guys. Anyhow, understand it properly. That's nothing to do here. Apply purpose is in a way it is used to construct your object. No, it is used to initialize object inside that. It is a factory method. In fact, anywhere the concept of factory method is, it is a method which returns object of containing class itself. As their companions, we can return the object of that class from this companion of the object of class. Object instance, otherwise, not to get confused, I'll tell it as instance. I will use this word instance. The instance of companion class can be returned from the companion object by using this apply. And we call this as what? A factory method. You know this, right? So that is the point. So this acts as a factory which will instantiate the companion class and returns that object, that instance, otherwise returns that instance of companion class from companion object. Got it, right? That's what we have discussed in last class. Another point. I'm switching to the next topic here. The topic is this. Another advantage, we'll go to the document only, because anyhow people copy and paste it in Notepad or in PPTs and make it beautiful. So what I feel is that you can straight away observe this, you can understand better from here. So there is another advantage or application of this apply methods, the companion objects, otherwise not just apply. See, first it is companion objects. When we have this companion concept, inside that we apply, and with that apply we can create multiple constructors. So with this apply approach, when we have this companion concept, how we are going to create multiple constructors? It's a simple story. It's not something difficult. I'm going to simplify this code because this option is there, right? If you see here, when you look at this option, again option is one whole session. It takes one whole session to understand option, and it is also one of the very important and useful topic in Scala. One of the most important and used topic throughout this thing. Got it, right? So what do you do right now? I'm just simplifying it. Instead of option, I might use multiple constructors. One thing is we can create multiple constructors by applying this companion object concept. So what do we use this? To do this, we use apply here. So I'll just simplify the statement here. We create multiple constructors, anyhow, that is there. Okay. Multiple constructors with the companion object method with the companion objects, comma, object, maybe you can take it as a concept, okay. And here what do we do? To create this multiple constructors, we use this apply. Apply also is useful for us to to create multiple constructors. Okay. Here we use what? Apply method to construct or to create multiple constructors. That's a simple, simplification of what the Scala guys is telling us. Multiple constructors. How we do is a simple process. Already we know, we have discussed that process in the last session itself. Okay. You can take a simple example. Let us not go for something very hardcore examples, not necessary. But don't think I am going to skip about option. Definitely I'll get back. Okay, I'll talk about option. But for today, I want to close this applications of companion object, so that this topic will be done. Again, we'll come back to the apply option concept in the next class tomorrow. We'll have a very detailed analysis, sir. And again, I'll come back to this concept and I'll make you to understand how this works, option works in a use case here. You can treat this as one working use case. You don't need to worry about that part, okay? But now I'm just taking a simple example, like how we have used in the last session, okay? So there is nothing too difficult here. We are almost following the same code, what we have used in the last session. But only thing is, we are trying to construct multiple constructors with the apply concept. Okay? So what do you do right now? Just simply open your open your Scala prompt. Go for your Scala prompt. Right? You know one thing. If you want to construct both your companion class compare an object in a single file here, at this place, this Scala prompt, we use this option. What is that? Yesterday we have discussed this paste, colon paste. Now this gives us an opportunity to declare both as a single file now, and that's how we have to define companion class and companion. Like how some class you can take it as person. I'm not taking too many this thing here and then opening this and I'm just simply defining one variable, nothing, just name, just to test this or two variables, because so that it gives you a better understanding of how we can create multiple constructors when you have this companion concept by applying that. Okay. So now if you look at it, what is it? Just take two variables, something like var space, var or val, it's up to you, sir. Some string. Default is what? For a string, the default value is null. You know, right? Only for string we have null. For others, the defaults we have discussed. Okay. And then var age colon. You can take int, okay, and equal to, you can set it to 0. These are defaults. And just define these two here. And we initialize these instance variables, and we create object for this person, or we instantiate person in the companion object. Now that too with this constructor concept. You know, right? What is the purpose of a constructor? If you get back to the, again, the question, what is the constructor? Why do we need it? We have a very detailed discussion. The purpose of constructor is used to initialize instance variables of class. What do we need it? It is used to initialize the instance variables of a class. So how do we do that? With the apply concept. So take companion. No, sorry, I made the same mistake in the last session also. Object person. This becomes companion object. Open this. Do you think we have a? Do you think we have? We have this. What is that? Main method inside this. Okay. Do you think we have a main inside this? Yes, sir. Can anybody give me an answer? Madhu or Srikant or anyone? Okay. We know Harish, anyone? No problem. Suresh, Veera. See, usually in this scenario, we don't need a main here because we are testing it directly in the, where we are testing it directly in the Scala prompt. So in this scenario, it's not necessary, right? So what should I do then? Any idea? Any suggestion? What should I do to initialize this? We take two constructors as per, I'm following these guidelines only. First one is more like a one argument constructor. Second one is more like two arguments. First one is just to initialize one variable here. We have done this in the last class. We are not doing it something new. Second one is just to initialize two variables here. Okay. So now how do you do it now? Something like def apply. No. This takes how many parameters? One parameter. Because this is what, maybe if you want, make a comment also. This is a single argument construct. As written there, I am also following the same. Maybe we can take some other example. I don't have issues, sir. Don't think no. Single argument constructor. Then I'm defining it like define apply. We have to do it with apply. And then take one variable, name colon string. Okay, and then it should have a return type. You know, right? What should be the return type here? You are very clear. What should be the return type? Come on, somebody can tell me this. Correct. Perfect. It should be a class name. Perfect. I'm only asking not to test you people, just to know how far you are able to understand my teaching. That's all. Testing myself. No, right? You are all working professionals. I don't want to offend you in any way. So here like this, and that's what you told class name. I took it. And what should I do now? Because we have done this session in the last class, so that I want you to, remind. Okay, I want you to remind it, so that you get a deeper and better idea of the concept. That is my intention. Please don't take me wrong in any way if I'm asking questions. Okay. So what should I do first in the first step? All of you know very well. What is that? What should I do here? Create object. Excellent. Okay. Create object. So that's what I should do. No doubt. So var space. You can use val or var. It's up to you, sir. If you don't want to change that instantiation, make it val. Suppose somewhere if you want to overwrite that object, that reference, if you want to overwrite with new object, then make it as var. It's up to you. Okay. So var p equal to new person. Here we have to apply new. Maybe later we don't need to use new. This happens. This goes inside here, and then now like in what do you do in constructor? We initialize instance variables. Now here also on this reference, because I said p dot name equal to, I said something here, person name, something like Manohar. Okay, it's me because I am a person. I am giving my name. If it is you, you can give your name. That's fine. Okay, I gave my name here, and usually what is that I am doing here? I am initializing my instance variable in this apply method. Even constructors does the same. Okay, and might be you might ask me a question, sir, you are not calling it directly in the object. You know very well, I told this number of times. Within class we can call members, instance members or methods directly. If it is outside class, then we should access those members only through reference of object or through object directly. Okay, so here we have to access it through reference or through object. Any one way. Recommended is through reference. Now finally, what should I do now? Now I should return that reference. Returning reference is nothing but returning object. Okay, P. Finally, what should I do now? Close it. Similarly, you can create one more apply with two parameters. This is a two argument method. What should we do now? You do one thing again. Just a comment. This is a two argumented constructor. Same topic what we have done is in the last session. Two argumented constructor. Okay, then same thing. Def apply, then name colon string means this time we are going to initialize two variables, age colon int. Okay, colon. You know the return type now very well, so it should be person and then a. And then what you have to do now? Create an object. Same thing. Just initialize two variables this time. Var space some p equal to new person. Okay, parenthesis, and then what should we do now? P dot name equal to Manohar. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing, P dot age equal to 16, and then just return it. No, I am not 16. Don't worry. I just gave it like that. Right. So finally, I'm done. Return that object, and finally close the constructor or apply method. Then close the singleton object. Now we are done with the both. Can you see here now? We have created both companion class and companion object. What should we do now? We have to press Control D. Control D. That will create both objects. Now all this is given clearly in the document, sir. Official document is clearly telling all that. Don't worry. So Control D concept is there. Finally, what you have to do? This sum concept is applicable if you have option, but somehow we simplified it. We don't want to go with that sum approach, but we want to do it in a direct process. Okay, what do you do now? Just create two objects, var sum p1 equal to, just right. This is now built. The background for this is a companion class and companion object. While instantiating, you can directly just pass parameter here, something like that. Okay. there is a small correction to this case. I directly initialized. What should I do is I have to initialize this local variable to this. These two local variables, these two. No, parameter passing is there here. Somehow, I missed that. We have to add this parameter passing. You can correct it, not an issue, or I can even correct it, not a problem. You can copy and paste it quickly, not a big issue. I will correct myself here. This code, I will edit and it's a matter of 1 minute for me. For you also, you can do the same. Okay, right? So I am taking it to a notepad now. Just editing it. See here what I am doing. This is parameter passing, right? Don't do static initialization. Just a small correction. Set local variable name to instance variable. And here two variables are there. Local variable name to name. And then instance variable this to age to. Again local variable age to instance variable age and return it. Now again I'm copying this whole code. Okay. Copy it, Control C, and paste it. And finally, what should I do now? Control D. Objects are created. Now I am going to create the first. I am going to call the first constructor with one argument. So P1 equal to okay, and then P1 equal to person. If it is constructor, we pass through values through object. We have discussed this while we have done this constructor topic, right? So here just pass something like mono here because we just have only one. Object is created, then p1 dot name, that gives you the value. Got it, right? That's it, perfect. Suppose I want to instantiate object with two values, then in such case, you can pass two values like this, something like some 37, and then you can call it like p1 dot some p1 dot name, then p1 dot age. That's it. Got it, right? This is a beautiful concept. So this is one more advantage with which one? With what, guys? One more advantage with the companion object. We can create multiple objects like this. Multiple constructors like this with companion object. That is one more application of companion object. So you can, you can try, you can test this course. All of you can test it once. That is the another application. I'm adding to the notepad so that it will be here. Okay. Got it? All of you are good, sir? By now, I think you would have been clear with almost all the concept of this companion thing. Okay. Okay. Can you test it once quickly? Take a minute or two, finish it, and please confirm if you are done with the testing. Then we will see. We'll talk about the opposite method of this, which is unapply. Okay. If apply is used to construct object, unapply is used to deconstruct object, not destroy, deconstruct. Constructor means you create object, set data to it. Deconstruct means it won't destroy object, but it will extract the data from the object. That is called deconstruction. Okay, we'll see that with the example, and instead of talking on on words, let's see it with the concept. Okay, right. So meanwhile, take a minute or two, please test it, then quickly close this. We'll move to the next. If you see the example, we have made it little simple, because without having a perfect idea about option, if I teach you this example, you might get confused. But I don't want to confuse you guys. That is not my this thing of training, but I'll give a very detailed analysis in the next session tomorrow about option and the subclasses of option and how it is useful, and also a pattern matching with option. Very interesting topic actually. One of the most used concept in a real-time use case. Even this supply is also is most used, no doubt about it. Okay, you can test it. So just confirm, sir, once you finish testing. Okay, thank you. Then I'll switch to the next topic. See, the opposite of apply is what, sir? Unapply. This is the last application of companion. We have gone very deeper to this, but in that process, we learned clearly about apply more than understanding that companion. Also, got a clear idea about this apply thing. Got it right, and also there are so much of information in this if you have observed carefully, right? The kind of abstraction happens, how the abstract, even that is also a concept of abstraction. No, right? So unapply is, I told you just now. No, what does this unapply does? Again, the purpose of this is if apply is used to construct and set data, unapply is used to do the deconstruct. That is what the exact word they use. The typical technical word. Can you see this? Deconstruct object instances. What do you mean by deconstruct object instances? Do you think that is something like destroying or what? We are not destroying it. That is not the meaning of deconstruct. The meaning of deconstruct is used to extract data that is already present in the object. Suppose in the previous example, okay, let us take a small print and understand. It's a beautiful thing, right? See how beautiful this OOP topic or the Scala is all about, right? See here, we created two instance variables in this person class, correct? So we have two instance variables. This is person, no doubt about that. And then here we created two variables, name and the age. Now what did we do now? Right? Now to initialize, of course, to create this object, person class has this two, just to show you. We constructed two objects through two apply methods, correct? So we constructed two objects with the apply with one parameter, something like name. Just for testing purpose, I'm saying. Apply with two parameters, name, comma, age. Don't worry about the data types. This is only just to show you quickly. So this first apply will construct one object. Okay, I think let me write as per the construct. Okay, stuff. Okay, leave it like that. So the first apply, this apply will construct an object with the one parameter. Just giving you an idea, because so that you get a perfect idea about unapply also. Okay, so this will construct an object with how many parameters? It construct an object with the two parameters or one parameter? That is first question. How many does it have? Question number one. It has two parameters. It has a, see, object has two parameters, but what happens? Initialization is done to one parameter. If you look at this, if you want me to prove, we'll go here. We'll take just quick workaround, not a problem. See, in this code or here also this code, how many instance variables are there in this class object? Two. When it has two, when you create object, by default these two instance variables exist inside object. Here, when you create it like this, but what did you do? You set data for only one variable. Remaining you left it like that. This constructor will set only one value. The other will be default. Maybe if you doubt it, you can do one thing. Shall we test it here? Okay, just for for your confirmation, not to. That's just this one. See here, we are just instantiating this class with one object. Okay, with one parameter. Sorry, not one object, with one parameter. Now you say p1 dot name. Fine. Sorry, p1 dot name. Another one, p1 dot age. See, if it is throwing error here or if it is not showing anything, then this variable doesn't exist inside object, but it is giving me default value. Can you see here now? Miss, you tell me now, do we have two instance variables in this object or one instance variable? Of course, we are using constructors in a different way. This constructor will set data only for name. This constructor will set data for both instance variables. Correct, right? So I hope this is clear for all of you. Right? I hope I am not confusing you guys, but we are going a little deeper. So if you have any such issue, just bring to my notice. We will have a discussion. That's all. Now another object. This is also having two variables. Suppose if it is Python, then probably we might have only as per that method the variables are initialized, but this is not like that. So this Java and this Scala, this C# probably they follow, and C++, they follow a standard way of creating objects. First, when you create object itself, this instance variables are created inside that, and they are set to default values. Later on, you are again overwriting them. That's what you do here, okay? And unless and until if you are directly setting with some static values, got it right? If you are directly initializing, unless you directly initialize them with some constants, otherwise, we override them in most of the cases. Here also, something like name and age. Now, when you call name, suppose when I am calling that, when I create an object like this, like what, okay, like person of something. with one value, something like 1. What happens now? Here, this is a constructor which is used to set value for only one instance variable. Means to whom? That is this one. This gets initialized with 1. The second case, when you create object like this, something like person of something like some mano comma, you can give any name, sir. That's up to you. And then age some 37. So this what this does? This constructs an object. Two variables are there, but these two values are initialized to this object. Here it will have mano, and then it will have that 37. Second constructor, creates what it does? It creates object and set these two values to this object. The first constructor will create object and sets only name to this object. This will be default. This will be 0. Got it, right? That you have set it in the beginning itself. If you look at the code here, we have set it in the class itself. And this is must in Scala. You must and should declare and initialize in Scala class. Suppose if you don't do that in Java, you have implicit values there. But here you will get an error. That is important point. So I think you got clarity, right, with this analysis. So whenever what's happening here, this is the flow here. When you create an object like this will go and call apply, and this apply will go and initialize this object. That apply will create object and set the data, whatever you are passing to the you have passed through this constructor. Similarly, same thing. When you create this constructor, this object with two values, this will go and call this apply, and that apply will create object for person, and these two parameters are set to this object, the instance variables. This is what apply is doing every time. When you call unapply, it will deconstruct. Means what? That's why we are drawing all this. Now you have already data in this. Correct, right? Do you have data here or not? And do you have data here or not? So unapply, what it does is it will extract this data. What is it going to do? So it is going to extract this data, whatever data here you have mono and 37 or mono and 0. Unapply is used to extract that. That is called deconstruction of object. You got it right? So that is simple idea, sir. So what do you do right now? So if you look at it, that's what this guy is now what explaining it. 1 minute. Understood? Where is it? Okay, let's come here. Now if you see here, okay. If you see here, right? Unapply. What is this? Just as adding an apply method in a companion objects lets you construct new object instances. Adding an apply lets you deconstruct object instances. We'll see a small example. You can see this is a simple class with what with a parameterized construct. If you look at it, it doesn't have a body, but still this will work for us because this is a companion class here. If you see here, and companion object, and you know how to create this unapply with one parameter. When you look at the whole code, you don't see anything strange here. You don't see anything strange. This is almost known to us. In place of apply, you put apply and it takes one parameter and the return type is string here. And do you remember this? Long back somewhere we have used this in the very beginning of Scala sessions. We discussed something called string interpolation. Okay. String interpolation means it is used to what it does? It is used to what string interpolation does? It is used to concatenate strings and return values, and also you can see we are passing some placeholders here. Can you see here now? That dollar flower pressers is nothing but a placeholder. In place of this, the value is returned. In place of this, the p dot name the value is written, name is written here, p dot age, the age is written here, and this is nothing but deconstruction. Okay, if you see here, okay, do you get the point, right? So that's what this does. This is a very straightforward companion class where you have just two parameters of var type. If you put var means these are public methods, which internally has a setter and getter for this. I explained that. What is that setter and getter? So when you create an object, by default, this first one is set to this string here, and second one is set to this age here. What are you doing in companion object? Once the object is set with this data, you can see here new. Right now, I am not avoiding new here because we didn't apply that constructor concept. If you apply constructor, apply concept, then you don't need new. Still, you can have both in the same method also, same object. Maybe if you ask me, sir, we didn't see apply here. Suppose if you have unapply, should we avoid apply? No, that is not like that. You can try in both the use cases. If you want, you can put both. You can take it as a scenario and you can try that also. But for quick understanding, what is that we are doing? We are creating object, and this is a constructor, parameterized. And if it is a parameterized constructor, we should pass to that through object. This is a constructor calling. Through constructor calling, we pass two values. Now what I am doing here, I am applying unapply. Okay, I'm creating unapply. Applying unapply means creating unapply. It takes a parameter. Means now this can be used in two ways. Okay, one, it is used to deconstruct. Of course, what values you want to deconstruct? Do you want to extract all the values from the object, or you want to extract only few values from the object? That you decide it. Okay, it's up to the developer. Now, if you look at the parameter here, the parameter is not value type here. This is not value type. It's not string, it's not int, it's not float, it's not double. But for this, the parameter is the object itself. Can you see a person itself? Observe this carefully. The parameter to this is person, not an object. So not a value type. Okay. Now, what do you do? To this apply method, you pass the whole object. You create an object. That object itself you pass to that unapply method p. Then what it will do? It will extract those values and return it. See how beautiful Scala had created these designs. These are all patterns. It is a kind of design pattern where you want to extract values from an object. So for that, it is using what string interpolation, where placeholders are applied to extract data. And where is this p coming from? P is nothing but a local object. It's a parameter which is treated as a local variable. And from that p, we are trying to call p dot name and p dot age. Now, if you see here, I constructed object, pass it to values. And in this object, we created unapply, where person is the parameter, the whole object is the parameter. And here, now this is partial function. If you look at it, it's a kind of partial function where we can put a body, or without body, still we can directly equate the expression. So we can do it like this even in Scala, right? So apply this interpolation, and maybe you can just return this values like this. Just apply placeholders like this. Then automatically what happens when you call unapply? You can see here. This is the second statement. So that you are passing this object created to this unapply. And when you do that, what happens? It will return this unapply is called, this object p is passed to this one here, and then this whole this extracted data. This is more or less like extraction or deconstruction. It will extract that name from the person and age from the person. And if you see here, when you try to run this, you can see here that is having two values here. Can you see here? No? That result is holding two values here. If you print result, you get two values. What is that? The first one is this name, which is Lori, which you are passing here. The second one is that. Okay, we will test it quickly. This is not something too difficult. You can directly test it in the Scala prompt. What should I do? You can also test it parallelly. Paste. First, create a class. Same person, and you can take one or two parameters. If you don't want to, if you think it is heavy having two parameters, you can try with even one parameter. This is just to get some quick idea about how this deconstruction can be done with unapply. That's what we are doing here. You can take var space name colon string, which is a public, which is treated as a public variable, then public parameter here var space. Second one is age colon something like int. Okay, that is one thing. So we are done with this class. We don't need a body here, so we can also do things like that. This is another style of doing this kind of a process. Second one is a object person. Maybe you can give some space if you wish. So we have locked there, no issues. Let me see if we can take it forward here. Object person, inside that what is that we need just def and apply that. Take a parameter as what p is a, if not p you can put p1 or that variable name is your choice, it's just a variable, but the type is of class type here, companion class colon. What should be the return type here? It's returning a string. It's not like you should return string. If you want, you can do it in different ways. Don't think that we can only return string always. And then initialize, and then you can go for string interpolation and then apply a dollar, and then you can just apply this small placeholder, then p dot name. This returns name, comma, by concatenating that name to this. Second one, dollar, again placeholder, p dot age. This will extract age. Both are combined into a string, and then that is returned as a value here for this unapply call. There's a spelling, there's a typo in the code here for unapply, but still it will work. But it doesn't make sense because it has to be what? Unapply. That's it. That's the standard approach. So finally, what I have to do? Returning is everything is happening here itself. Okay, so extracting data and concatenating this two values to the string and returning it, everything happens in the single line itself. So that's what the advantage and disadvantage in Scala. We can optimize it to the most possible way, but at the same time you should understand it, the optimization that needs a bit of a expertise also. Of course, it returns error, we know very well. The reason is well known to us because in between this object had been involved accidentally. So what I do is I'll just correct it here. Problem is I didn't copy this. I should say enter here. Then copying happens. Now take this. What is that? What is this? Using unapply. So the another application of companion objects is we can deconstruct. Another important point is deconstruct object using what, gentlemen? Unapply method. When we are having what? When we have companion objects. So this is a scenario. Remove this because it's easy for testing. Copy this. Then what do? Take it to the prompt. Here, what should I do now? Here, colon paste. That gives a window so that we can add both at a time. Paste it. Just right click, automatically get pasted. And Control D. Both are created. Now I can test it. First create an object where p1 equal to new person. Directly create an object. Pass two values, something like Madhu. Okay, and then age, I think some 33 or 34. What, Madhu? 34, right? So then after that, what should we do? Call unapply. How do you deconstruct this object? We should extract data from the object, right? How do you do that? Simple, right? Simply you can say person dot, you can take a variable first of all, person result equal to, see, this is actually inside, unapply is inside this object, singleton object. I told you some time back, I don't know whether you remember or not. If any method is declared in an object, in the singleton object, they are global methods. And these methods, we can call them by using, what is that? We don't need objects if methods are there in the singleton objects. We don't need instance for them. We can call them directly. How? Any answer? Methods are there in the singleton objects. We can call them without instance. How? Answer. How can I call unapply now, which is there in the singleton object? Okay, that is static, I agree. How can you call it? All of you know the answers. Thanks. With the object name, person name dot unapply. Okay, what should I do now? This unapply takes a object as parameter. What is your object? P1. That you pass as a parameter. Don't pass values. So you can see here I got, okay, it is returning both the values from the, it is extracting values from the object by concatenating those to a string. Can you see this now? Suppose what? You can directly print a result like this. Now result has that data. If I should split it, you should apply a split function on that, get Madhu and 34 separately. You ask me, I want it separately. Got it right. So that's how this which one the deconstruction can be done with the unapply here. Got it right. So what do you do right now? You can test this code, sir, all of you. Please test it. Now with this we can say we have successfully completed the applications of companion object. This much detailed discussion is there just in one companion class, companion object. Okay, if you want to learn it in a, now the deeper this thing, if you touch that official document, a single definition has so much of information in that. That's how the documentation is done. Official documentation, what I am talking. Those guys will just optimize that statement in a very simple way, but it has so much of information. Got it right? So these are all the applications of companion objects. Got it right? We can create multiple constructors. We can deconstruct objects. We can what is that? The private members can interact each other. Then also we can go for instantiation without new operator. In that process we use apply. We came to know how this apply and unapply can be efficiently used in this kind of a process. Finally, we'll just test a small built-in use case, just a small, just to analyze like how this exactly works in a real use cases. So you once done, tell me, sir, test it now. Once you take a minute or two, test it, and then we'll just see one use case applying this by using a built-in class. Already I have shown you, but in the beginning, you cannot, you don't have that interpretation as clear as now. Because you don't know all this, how it works, background mechanism, all that. Now you know the background mechanism and the instantiation process and the data setting process, all that. So we will see a small use case with a built-in collection like list or tuple or map or whatever it is. Then we'll switch off this session. Is it done, sir, all of you? I see that Bharat and Suresh had already updated me. Okay, fine, thank you. Then what I'll do is, let's take a small use case. Some var space, some list equal to list of. This is, if you now you look at this, we're giving some values 10, 20, 30. This is a class actually. List is a class. Do you know that? Some 40, 50 like this. But I didn't use any new here. Did I use any new here? No, I didn't use any new here. But I'm able to construct that by using this list class. By using this. Is behind this what is there? There is an apply. An apply method is called. And when you this is a constructor call. When this is called, what happens? Internally apply is called, and all these values are set to apply. Probably that parameter to apply might be a variable argument parameter because we are passing multiple values. Still, it is taking all the values. Means might be it should be a var parameter. It cannot be because it is a dynamic thing, right? You might keep passing values, so it should fit to that. So that's why they construct something like that. Even you can simulate a concept like that if you wish. Okay. So now you can just I'm just showing you. Now you can just iterate it. This has all the data. So what happens? That is assigned to this list here. What you can do now? Now you can iterate it with for loop, and then you can do whatever you want the processing part. Okay. So also you can extract something in the middle as well, something like list of 3, or you can iterate this by applying a for loop like like this. And then just say what println of I here, close it, and then enter. You get values like this. Got it right? You can do so much because I have reserved these collections as one of the most prioritized topic for us. We'll play a lot with collections. That is for sure. Got it right? Definitely all this definitely improves your analytical and also logical, and also what is that? The OOP, the styles actually functional, and how the functional style happens or OOP style happens, and the mixed style how it happens. All that you get a bigger picture of all these things. Got it right? So is that fine now? What do you say, sir? Yes, no, all of you good? That's it. Tomorrow I'm going to take it forward with the option, and then that is one also very interesting, sir. We'll see that option. That is one thing, and then sum, and then none. We'll talk about all this. Do we often use apply, unapply in our projects? Yes, we often use it, or even the all the built-in all the built-in most of the built-in things, built-in classes or built-in objects, they definitely internally use this apply and unapply concept. You get my point, Pinal? Okay. Anyhow, you can see it when we keep moving forward. We might be working on different use cases. You might learn that, not an issue. See, if you really master Scala, Spark is nothing. Spark has exactly some 4 or 5 concepts. Finishing concept doesn't take much time, but what you are using there, that you have to master. That is what we are doing right now. Okay, got it right? Correct. Definitely, that happens. When you keep on doing scenarios, you get the practice. So every day you are practicing in the session also, right? So every time we are getting an opportunity, okay, again to revise our, recall many logics or many uh, syntaxes or many scenarios back to back again and again, right? Definitely that is more enough for us. Okay guys, we are done for today. Tomorrow I'll take up this option concept because I know these are all very important use cases. If you are really working as a big data engineer, and this Spark is also very helpful to you. All this linked to other languages as well. No need to think like no, you are just trying to learn Scala means you are spending more time on this, means doesn't mean that you are wasting time here. Every language has a connection to other languages. If you master one language, definitely it's helpful for you to master Python and Java also. Your time span will be reduced. Suppose you spend 100 hours on Scala, On Python, you just need to only spend 20 hours, and on Java also just 20 hours. Got it, right? Means almost 80% of the time gets reduced once you master one language. Keep in mind. Got it, right? That's all, sir. Any questions, Madhu, Srikanth, and then Veera, and then no others. Bharat, Deepak, Harish. Any of you have questions?
No, man, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And what? See, if I sometimes what it happens very rare. Anyhow, now I have updated everyone. If I didn't turn up in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the session, please don't wait for me, because I will. This happens only if I am stuck somewhere in my session or something. Sorry, in my work or something. Okay. Thank you.